Welcome back to the channel, and as requested by a comment on my not last video but the video before that, this video, as you can tell by the title, will have a player review of Player Moments Josh King, and this is just marquee matchup packs that I've just done for now. I'm just showing you whilst I do the intro. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a few games with him, kind of give you a overall feel of what he plays like in the game. And then I thought I'd do something a bit different and basically increase his normal card stats in the normal game menus to the stats that he has on his Player Moments card, and then use him in skill games to kind of get more of a feel of how he does play and what his shooting's like, and then dribbling, can have more of a focus on specific aspects of his game. And it may not work as well as I'm hoping it is going to work, but it may give you a better insight to what he is like. Here we do get a walkout, and it was Edison. Quite nice, got my money back from that, from doing marquee matchups. So yeah, let me know if you do like these player reviews. If you do, then I'll try to do them more often, as often as I can, I should say, because I'm not going to be able to do like player of the month Messi when he comes out, because I just don't have the coins in my club. But things like objective players, cheaper SBCs, maybe during FUTMIS I could do more. I saw there's a Tagliafico objective, so if you want me to do him and crack on with the player review, I could do my best to get that out. Again, just let me know in the comments, and I'll see what I can do, because I want to kind of broaden the content that I produce, rather than just having weekend league rewards, fortnight, have a break, weekend league. It just becomes a bit tedious for me, and probably you as well. So as I keep mentioning, put ideas in the comments up what I can do, what you want me to do. I can even stop showing you gameplay of weekend league, but just show you the rewards and put out other content. You might prefer that, but just let me know. Be a bit more interactive. I might put some more polls up, and when there is a poll, if you don't know how to access it, on the video in the top right there'll be a icon with like an information kind of icon, so it's circle with an eye in. Press that and then you'll get the poll to come up. So let's head into the gameplay. So as you can see, I have tried my best to kind of incorporate King into the team that I usually use, which makes it a bit more fair on him, so I'm not just shoving him into a team that I don't use often, so I can play a similar way. So he's 6 foot, medium, which is decent. 3-star weak foot, not too good. 4-star skill moves, fine. Pace could be a bit better. Finishing's good. Composure's good. Agility and balance could be a bit better, but it's alright. Dribbling, ball control, good. Stamina, jumping, strength, all looking good. Short passing, and the passing whole aspect there could be improved upon. So if or when I get his proper card rather than his loan, I'll probably whack a hunter on him, maybe a catalyst, or maybe something different depending if I prefer him in a cam spot. And I've put this left winger in just to boost King's chemistry, otherwise he'd only be on 7 and it just wouldn't represent his card to the full ability. So let's get into the first game, and I'll just show you like short clips and highlights of what happened when I was using King. So let's get into it. So one thing that I do want to mention just before I start getting overcritical and whatnot, I need when you're doing the player review, you need to kind of take into consideration how you are playing, because I could be playing worse than I usually am. But and then that wouldn't reflect well upon the player, so that could just have put a negative image of the player without properly giving them a try. So it's usually better to just take into consideration that also how good your opponent is, because if I'd done all these games against pros, I'd say King is bad because I wouldn't be able to get the ball, I doubt, and two, I wouldn't really be able to produce much, which I don't really anyway, but just produce less than I usually do. Also, with certain players, it can differ for how you play. So, for example, because I've been playing with Mbappe for a while now, I'm used to his agility, his pace, his skill, his quality of finishing, and so I adapt to the way I've played with him. Whereas before, I wasn't playing the way that I do now, if that makes sense. So the way I use Mbappe was different to the way I used Pukki, for example, because they're two completely different players, and it's exactly the same here with King. King is nothing like Mbappe, and sometimes it's hard to adapt to the player quicker. And I tried to get like a variety of shots in this, just to kind of give a broader idea of how he plays, what he's like, is he good, is he worth it. I do whack a hawk on him here, because I wasn't going to waste a Catalyst or a Hunter on the loan card, because that's just a waste of money and a waste of consumables. But some overall comments on King, as you watched these clips with highlights of the few games that I did play with him, I felt he opens his account there for the club in the second game, but he can be a bit sluggish at times. It could be down to gameplay. It could just be him. I know his agility is 80 and his balance is 80, but that's not that low. But perhaps it could be a bit better. So it's just a point. And again, because I'm used to Mbappe, that could be why he feels a bit sluggish. But just like when doing a few skill moves, when kind of turning his turn circle was not the greatest, but that's just kind of what I felt about him. His passing, not the greatest. Obviously, the simple passes are always done, but perhaps because he's a striker, he doesn't need to focus on the passing as much. But sometimes, especially in FIFA 20, you kind of do. And there's a few examples in these clips of some passes that go astray, that shouldn't be really in my eyes. But his overall play is good. I like his positioning, his ability to hold up the ball is good. For an attacker, that's quite important if you're not as agile or as well balanced as the next guy. As you saw there, Josh King won the ball off the opponent to start the attack, and I did start playing him at cam, and I definitely preferred him playing at cam, which is strange because his passing isn't brilliant, but I felt he was so much more involved at cam rather than a striker, and he just created more opportunities, and he was getting on the ball more. As you see there, he gets a nice little assist, and as the opponent quits. But yeah, so sluggish at times, passing needs improving. Not the worst thing, but I'd focus on getting a chemistry style that does improve passing, especially if you're going to play him at that cam spot, because I do feel he plays better as a cam. He should have finished that as well. I don't think that was due to my shooting, because I'd like to think that I'm a bit experienced in that, so I shouldn't be shooting it at the keeper there. But whatever. Obviously, the thing is with these player reviews, the player's always going to miss. They're always going to mess up. But it's about how consistent they are and how often they mess up. Whether it's worth doing him. As we transition into these skill games, as you can see, I improved his normal card. up to the stats of his player moments card in Ultimate Team, and we put him in the Man United squad because that's a team that I use as my default, and we head into skill games just to try out some different ones, so shooting, dribbling, might have done a passing one, but we mainly focused on shooting. I gave a few goes at each skill game just to kind of give an overall grasp of how he plays, like I've been saying. And so I think I'd recommend doing him. One, because it's objectives, it's not SBCs, it's not going to cost you money, it's only going to take a bit of time, and the challenges aren't that hard. There's a squad battles one where you need to win 3 games against squad battles against at least professional with 1 Bournemouth player in your team, and there's the volley one's probably the hardest, and the other 3 aren't too difficult. It may take a bit of time to do, but it's much easier than grinding out the icon swaps, for example. But I'd do him because it doesn't cost money. It wouldn't take too much time, and if you really don't like him, you can then submit him into an SBC where you just raise the rating. Again, like I said, I did prefer playing him at Cam, but also kind of consider, is he better than who you have at the moment? So for me, I have Mbappe, so he's not better than Mbappe, so I'm not going to replace him with Mbappe. But if you have Player of the Month Pukki, for example, I prefer Josh King over Pukki, and it's almost just taking into consideration different aspects and what is better for you. But no, I definitely like the card. It's got great potential to get you goals, create opportunities for you, and this probably isn't the best player review because it's my first one. If I do more, obviously I'll get better the more I do, and I quite like the skill games as a way to kind of give kind of a overall view of his abilities in more depth, because you see him in different situations where in a game there can be similar situations. I know it's not always a game like scenario in this skill games, it is though, and I was up against Van Dijk and other good defenders, which it didn't make it too easy for me, but I was still finding myself scoring opportunities. His weak foot is quite an annoyance, I found, when I was doing skill games. Not so much in the games, because I didn't get many opportunities with him to use his weak foot. But yeah, my personal opinion, I would complete the objectives. I would get him, I would try him out, see what you think about him. It's definitely worth doing. And again, if you want me to do more player reviews or different content like this, drop in the comments down below who you want me to do, or what videos you want me to do. If you want me to do drafts, if you want me to do career modes, pro clubs, I'll set up another poll so you can vote. I can carry on doing weekend league games if you want, but that does take up 3 days of the week where I could be putting out different content. Even Fortnite, maybe another game that you want me to play that obviously I have. So yeah, if you did like this video, leave a like, comment down below any ideas, make sure you subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in a bizzle.
I'm just so fed up with these expectations, they keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside.